Hello, everybody. My name is Jessica Gleave. I took on the topic of system and diversity in an organization. I would want to go into depth about each of those topics, system and diversity in an organization, but first we're just going to start off with one question. And that question is, what makes up an organization? Is that their leaders? Is it the workers that work for that organization? Is it their mission statement? Is it the money that is brought into that organization? Is it their influence on the community? Or is it more than that? For me personally, I believe it's all of those things and more, which is why we're going to go over diversity and systems. First, with diversity, we're going to talk about what it makes it, like what makes up diversity, as well as how does it apply to the organization itself. Second, then we'll go into systems, and we'll talk about how you create a system within an organization. And that goes into single loop learning, how that works for some parts of an organization, and how double loop learning works better. First off, for diversity, I'm going to define it from a quote from the Luther College. And they said that diversity includes important and interrelated dimensions of human identity, such as race, ethnicity, gender identity, and expression, socioeconomic status, nationality, citizenship, religion, sexual orientation, ability, and age. You see diversity in more than just the workspace as well. You'll see it in church, you'll see it in your home, and you'll see it within people you are close to, your friends, or those that you pass on a daily basis. With all of those things, diversity is something that makes up our world and what we live in. We are, especially in the United States, we have people of all different types of backgrounds, where they came from, that make up a diverse economy. Diversity in the workspace is something that is the same as if it was in your church or your home, but something that businesses use to their advantage. From the Managing Diversity Organizations book, it says that diversity without appropriate infrastructure can have no roots. Infrastructure without diversity will bear odd fruits. Now, for me, from understanding this quote, I came up with this analogy, and hopefully it works for you guys as well. Think of diversity in an organization as this tree. The organization is the tree itself and the roots, the tree itself and the roots, the whole entire thing. What you see, the tree, the leaves, the branches, and so forth, is everything that we, the community, see. The product, the advertising, the marketing, etc. What we do not see, the roots, are what make up the tree, what make the tree to grow. It is what drives the organization to thrive. Hence, diversity is the roots. It's the teams, the people of all different backgrounds coming together to make something people will fall in love with and enjoy. Another quote that was from Yale University said that you can cut diversity across a lot of different dimensions. What's important for each organization is to identify the relevant dimensions, measure them, and make a part of how managers are evaluated. That is how diversity is in the workplace. From that analogy, is that it's the things that make the organization thrive. Moving on to systems. How it's created. From Forbes magazines, they wrote this in their business section. The notion of complexity is used to describe any system, be it a natural or human-made system, that has two characteristics. The system consists of many components that interact with each other in their environment, and two, the behavior system as a whole emerges as a result of the individual behavior and interactions in ways that may not be obvious. Think of like what makes up an organization. What are the different parts? What are needed? So for each business, they have to have different departments that build that business up. So you have like the productions department, the account and finance department, human resources, marketing team, research and development team, the purchasing team. Each one of those parts have a reason for being there and why the way they work. Going off of that is my next question, which is, how do they function? Is it, how do they run off of their, like, do they have a set way of doing things, or are they more diverse in the way that they handle their situations? Single loop learning is more of they have a set way. It involves the ability to detect and correct error relative to a given set of objectives. Many organizations are highly adept at single loop learning, having well-developed information systems designed to keep the organization on track. I like to think of this as doing a math problem. There is a way they have learned to do that math problem, and they are stuck in that way. They do not venture out, and they are in a way they're kind of the rule followers of the organization. It's like a never-ending cycle of doing the same thing over and over again because it works for that department or that organization. It's something they found that works. It's something that helps the organization or the department thrive and work on that. Something that I would consider a single loop learning department would be something like human resources. They have a set way that they handle each of their set projects that they're given, whether it's hiring or dealing with employee problems or whatnot. They follow the same things they've always done, and they do the same thing over and over again because it works for them. Opposite of that is double loop learning. Double loop learning is the system's ability to not only adjust its performance towards a given objective, but to also question that objective and adjust if necessary. They will see that they have made a mistake or something, not even a mistake, they'll see something that can be improved, and they will come up with a different way to approach that situation. But they will not just find one idea, their problem. They'll not find one idea for that, but they'll find multiple ideas that can help with that problem. And they'll keep finding ideas, and that will continue to thrive off of that and have multiple ways that they can handle that situation if a problem were to arise. I think the key word in double loop learning that defines it all together is that they branch out. They don't just stick with one way of doing it. They find a different way to do it, and they thrive off of doing that. In a project that we did, or an exercise that we did earlier on in this semester for this lesson, I believe it was lesson 6 that we talked about double loop learning, there was, I forget exactly what we did, but it was a case study that we read, and it was them in a group that somebody came up with, and they had all these ways of different people, diverse situations or diverse backgrounds, and they came up with a way that worked best from each other, and they worked off of their backgrounds and their talents to create the best way possible. And that is something that double loop learning works for. I feel like many organizations can use this and single loop learning to help their organization thrive. And this is why systems and diversity tie together for the organization. And I'm sure that's why our teacher asked us to do both of these at the same time, is because in diversity you can make a system that works together for that organization. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I wasn't too confusing for you all. And I appreciate the opportunity I had to learn more in depth about each of these as well. Thank you, and have a great day.